Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Hope you guys are having a good Sunday afternoon. Right now, Tennessee's sitting at 14th in the class of 2025. But, I say all the time, it's May. You got to be patient. We got a long way to go. I think we're going to see some movement over the next month or two as we see some guys coming off the board. Of course, we just got the recent commitment from 3-star, now 4-star. How about that? 4-star on the On3 industry rankings. Anthony Agamoro is in the boat. Coming up June 3rd, Jalen Matthews, a 4-star offensive tackle, coming off the board. June the 22nd, Charles House. June the 29th, Deshaun Brame. July the 4th, Zion Grady. July the 13th, Travis Smith is set to come off the board. And there's some other guys out there that are going to start to schedule their decisions. But again, it's May. We have to be patient. But I want to ask you guys, I want you guys to get on the keyboard, jump down in the comments, and tell me, what does Josh Heupel need to do over the next couple of months? Where does this football program need to be recruiting-wise in the class of 2025 for you to be satisfied? Because something that I've talked a lot about is, the investigation, the NCAA investigation is gone. There's no more excuses. It's time to put up or shut up. And I think Josh Heupel is doing things the right way. I think he's making moves. I think this roster is getting better. It's getting more athletic, getting more talented. But what do you yourself need to see from Josh Heupel over the next couple of months in the class of 25 for you to be satisfied with where this football team is at? We're coming off a huge recruiting event, the 865 live event. David Sanders, Nick Moore building a relationship. Of course, George McIntyre was in town, peer recruiting. He's going to continue to spend some time with David Sanders throughout the week, going down to the On3 event in Nashville. And I've said it multiple times, I think David Sanders may kind of be where some of you guys, maybe even myself, is going to gauge the success or the failure of Josh Heupel in this class of 2025. Shady Hayward was also in town. He didn't pull any punches. He said he was in town to help Tennessee recruit. I dropped a video on Jared Smith, a 5-star edge rusher, earlier this morning. If you missed that, go back and give it a watch. He said Tennessee is way higher on his list than people realize. But if you're talking about lists, you're talking about elite talent. 4-star cornerback Onis, Konan, Banny, he didn't even have to say where Tennessee was at on the list. He made it clear they are at the top of his list. Ryan Callahan puts it out on Twitter. 4-star corner returns to Tennessee for Vols 865 live event. Names leader ahead of official visit. So Tennessee is leading the way for the 4-star corner out of Columbia, South Carolina. Of course, you can actually look over here on Twitter. You go down, Onis tweets himself, "My first heart," and you can see the video. We'll just pull it up here. Walking inside to Neyland Stadium, down the ramp, there's nothing like Neyland. Man, those magical letters up there on the scoreboard. But he calls Tennessee the clear-cut front runner for his commitment going into his official visits. We'll take a look at some of his quotes, a little bit of a scouting report. Before we do that, I need you guys to do me a favor. Smash the thumbs up just below the video. Quick, free, easy. It helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If it's your first time on the channel, welcome. Look, we're not experts here. We're not media. We're not reporters. We're not journalists. We don't break news. We talk about news. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. We're going to be live Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Tennessee running back commit Justin Baker going to be in the house for an interview. Always a good time having the players on. I said it earlier today. I'll say it again. If you missed the interview with Anthony Agamoro, go back and give it a watch. Go back and give it a watch. It's on the live tab on the YouTube channel. His mom came on with him, told some stories about their visit, told some stories about Josh Heupel and this coaching staff, and I think more eyes need to be on that interview because it shows what a special man Josh Heupel is. And I get it, man. It's all about recruiting. It's all about players. It's all about talent. It's all about winning games. But we have a special man leading this football team. So I encourage you to go back and give that a watch. But let's get into it. Let's talk about 4-star corner Onis, Konan, Banny. This is a guy that Coach Rice mentioned on Wednesday night, or on Friday night after the interview with Anthony. We talked a little recruiting, and this is a guy that Coach Rice had his eye on going into this visit. But you can see the profile on the screen. Again, a 4-star corner out of Columbia, South Carolina, 6'2", 170 pounds. You got to like that length. When you're talking about recruiting in the secondary, you like the length of Onis, Konan, Banny. And you look at the class of 25 right now. They've already got a couple of corners committed in the class. Dylan Lewis, a 3-star corner out of Georgia. He's 5'11", 180. And then also you've got Tyler Redmond, 6'1", 175, 3-star prospect, also out of the state of Georgia. But Onis Konan, Banny, little higher ratings. I know we're stargazers around here, but he's a little higher up the board when you look at the actual rankings and numbers. But a scouting report, not too detailed here, just kind of brief, says his easy for me to say, his anticipation skills stand out the most. He's got good athleticism. He's willing to tackle, showing off good discipline to maintain outside contain in the run game and step up and make the tackle. He's sticky in coverage, shows a knack for working back to the ball on comeback routes. He mirrors well, does a nice job tracking the football in the air. Now, again, he was in town for the 865 live event. That was his 4th trip to Knoxville in just a little over a year. So 4 times in Knoxville. I think since March of 2023, I think is what I read. Matt Ray of VolQuest coming out of this visit, he says this visit went about as well as it could for Tennessee. He has named the Vols the leader heading into the official visits and has some praise, high praise for them after today's laid-back visit. And again, that's the theme. That's what we heard from Jared Smith. That's what we've seen from all the interviews coming out after the 865 live event. It's laid back. Josh Heupel hanging out, just being one of the boys. I think these guys, these kids, these players, they enjoy that. It's not just about recruiting. One of the most interesting things, again, to plug that interview with Anthony Agamoro, one of the things he said was, it's nice to talk to a coach and just have a conversation. He said that they'll call and say, hey, man, what'd you have for lunch today? What are you doing? What are you eating? What are you into? How's class going? How's this going? How's that going? It's not about football. And I asked him a specific question. I said, is that unique? Is that something that other coaches do, or is it all recruiting? He said, Josh Heupel doesn't call me and go, well, who have you talked to today? What coaches have you been in contact? He doesn't do that. He said it's very unique. Every other guy that calls to recruit wants to know who you talk to, where's your recruitment, where's your commitment. It's all about business, whereas Josh Heupel, these coaches, a little bit more laid back. It's about relationships. And there's a fine line there, right? That's the conversation we have a lot on this channel. There's a fine line of when to be aggressive and when to be laid back. Does being laid back on recruiting, does that maybe hurt Josh Heupel sometime? I don't know, but I like the approach, and I think people see that he is genuine. But again, that was kind of the theme, laid-back recruiting weekend. Tennessee is battling Penn State, also North Carolina. Matt Ray said to keep an eye on Florida State after this next week, see if they start to creep in there a little bit. But here's some quotes from Onis Konan, Banny, coming out of the visit. He said, I love it here. This is where I see myself playing. He said today kind of solidified it, just because today wasn't about recruiting spills. It was just about having fun, just the staff and just being around the staff, being around some of my teammates. It was just the presence of being here. Now, he is originally from France, spent some time in London, and then he moved to the United States in August of 2021 to pursue football. That's why he moved to the States, wants to be a football player. This is the place to do that. Said a big part of his recruitment is going to be the official visits coming up, and a big part of that is because his mom is going to be traveling to the United States to go through these official visits with him. Now, he already took one to Utah last month. He's going to be at Florida State this upcoming weekend. Next weekend, he will be in Florida State. North Carolina on June the 7th, Penn State on June the 14th. Tennessee gets that last visit on June the 21st. He doesn't have a date set yet for his commitment, but he plans to commit pretty soon after those official visits. Now, this, to me, is the type of player we need. You look at the secondary, right? And I think, we kind of had an overhaul this past season. A lot of bodies transferred out. A lot of new guys came in. We talk about athleticism and speed going up in the secondary, and that's what we need. You look at what Coach Garner has done rebuilding that defensive line, and now you have Tim Banks with the confidence to go out in a media appearance and say, we got the best defensive line in the country. The linebacker room, right? You're adding more and more talent there. Arian Carter, Jeremiah Thielander, athleticism in that linebacker room. I think we got to continue to do it in the secondary, but you got some young talent, right? If Jermod McCoy is who we think he is, he's going to be a sophomore, so you got some eligibility there. Ricky Gibson, also a sophomore. Your 2 starting corners are young. I want to see how Jordan Matthews comes along, how he starts to develop. He was a highly, regarded recruit when Tennessee landed him. Of course, you got Boo Carter, you got Caleb Beasley. You've also got a guy that I'm pretty high on, Marcus Gorey Jr. So you got some young athleticism there. I think you got to continue to do it in the class of 25. Continue to stack these classes like Rodney Garner has done. That's why the defensive line is the strength of this football team. But I think we can make the entire defense a strength. Like Josh Heupel has said in front of the media, we're not just going to play okay defense. This is the home of Reggie White. This is the home of Eric Berry. We're going to play elite defense at the University of Tennessee. Is Onis Konan Banny a guy that could make this defense just a little bit more elite? Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, do me a favor. Smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. We would appreciate it. Go check out the Talkin VAWLS merch. You can do that at bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is also in the description below. But that is going to do it for this one. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you guys have a great Sunday. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.